This is an old movie that was never released. It is right here. Mr. Hobbs, story of Mr. Hobbs, or the Claim Digger's Daughter. Has a lot of old scenes of Cape Charles shot in the 40s, but many of the buildings that are in here are still standing today, so it's very recognizable parts of downtown. This is a replica of the steamers that they built to take the rail cars across the bay over to Norfolk back when Cape Charles was established. Pretty neat. They didn't do any passengers at that time or cars. Some information about artifacts they're still trying to save. They have other railroad artifacts they're trying to add to the museum before they're destroyed and the town cleans up the property. This is a video about how the Chesapeake Bay was created, which was actually by a meteor, which I never knew this, 6 miles below the earth. Here's rock core samples taken from Chesapeake Bay. And you can see here Cape Charles is actually the epicenter, and this is a fairly recent discovery, and when they discovered it, they did a big dig and dug up a bunch of artifacts. Here's a little display about the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which is considered a feat of the modern world. It's actually really impressive. If you've ever driven across it, you know how long it is. So it's 17 miles from shore to shore, a little over 17. And you have a bridge and a tunnel and a bridge and a tunnel and a bridge. The two islands on the end were actually, they're man-made to support it. And then here you have a little cutout of, this is actually how the tunnel goes under the water for the shipping ports. Pretty neat. The old diesel engine, part of the plant here. So if you're ever in Cape Charles, you've got to check out this museum. Really cool. And actually, Peg, the lady who runs it, is actually also a musician, and she invited us to go hear her play at one of the local restaurants Friday night. So we're probably going to end up checking that out. So you can't beat the local history friendly service, so come on down if you're ever in Cape Charles. Madison! Madison!
Mom!
Hi! Hi, Madison!
Mom!
Yeah, Mama's right here. Madison!
Mom!
Good morning. So today we are getting ready to do something that I have wanted to do for a really long time. I remember seeing something when I was a kid. I don't remember if it was a news report or something on PBS about Tangier Island in Virginia in the Chesapeake Bay. They have this really unique accent and way of life that's starting to die out. And now with the waters of the Chesapeake Bay rising, it's predicted the island will have to be abandoned in the next 20 years and that it will completely disappear within the next 50 years. So in addition to this way of life that's very unique and old, I think the island has been around with inhabitants, settlers since the 1700s, maybe the 1600s, I'm not positive. Several hundred years, and it's a waterman way of life, and it's a very small amount of people that support the entire economy of the island, and that's mainly through fishing and oysters and seafood. And there's a lot of draw for tourism, but it's not an industry that they have super developed. And I actually read that they got their first ATM in 2016, maybe. It was very recent, and it took a vote by town council. So anyway, I am really excited, and I'm really excited for Madison to be able to have this experience. Their accent is believed to be Cornish origin and come down from the descendants of Welsh and English settlers there. And supposedly it's very difficult for most people to understand. And in a lot of the restaurants, I say a lot, but there's only like a couple on the whole island because it's very small. It said that they speak Maryland English for the tourists, but we're open to hear some of the original accents. Most of the watermen work like 15-hour days, so we're probably not going to see or interact with a ton of locals. It's not super inhabited place, but a lot of the women and the wives of the watermen stay back and run the shops and the restaurants. And also read that there's a little local history museum, so we'll definitely check that out, and that they speak the original accent there. So we'll see what happens. We're going to try to catch the ferry. I've done a lot of research, and I'm hoping everything works out today. And we plan on eating lunch over there, walking around, grabbing the ferry back. So we're hoping to have a super day. The weather's really nice, not too hot. So We'll see what happens.
When are you going over to football? We're going to have to get one because nothing that we talked about, we never mentioned it in the card. We always have a card for the house and we're going to, for anybody that wants one, but they got to film it because we only got like 3 cards now. But I can do one in a little bit.
We got an authentic crab cake sandwich here. All whole crab, no canned or frozen mixed in. Maddie has her french fries.
Emblems to have Tangiers in there somewhere because my son took it there. My son lives in Salisbury area and he took it. It's the little patch and we can't find it. Every time we go, we're going around looking for the patch.
Okay.
But it should be in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
In only that one in
Yeah, and the one in Salisbury.
In Salisbury,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Alright.
where he lives. And,
I know they have a bunch of them all the time.
Yeah.
They're always like looking.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, very good.
25.
Yeah.
whole
That's on the
point
north.
right there that was Canaan Ridge.
Canyon Ridge. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So it's, the water's kind of creeping up that way, or is it kind of creeping from all sides? Yeah.
Yeah, all the way around. We need a jetty all the way around us. We've got one below the airport.
Okay.
Airstrip, did you see that black airstrip there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
No,
across.
over there.
Oh,
yeah.
the strip,
Yeah, airport. Yeah, and there, below that is the black, that's our, where they put a jetty at,
Okay.
all the way down to protect the airport. So the government did, we don't know if they did it to protect the airport or if it was for us.
Yeah, right?
We think it's more for the airport, but if it hadn't been for that, the airport would have been already in the water.
Wow.
And heading for, we call that the West Ridge.
I see. Yes, I see. The water would have been headed here. What?
Parkses.
Parkses.
And dyes.
And dyes.
There's a few McCready's, a few thorns. And I think that's the majority.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Let's see, sometimes something else. Parks, Pruitt's, Crockett's.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Dyes.
spending the afternoon on the island here, and there's really too much to see and do. It's not enough time. really you need a whole entire day. But hurrying back to the boat because actually it's really running close on time. But just came out of the local history museum. It is really neat. This island is self-sustained with water. They have their own artesian wells that are like 1,300 feet deep. I think they have 6 of them. And then their power is supplied through wire that goes down under the ocean. So the island is hardly ever without power because they also have generators here as a backup source. There's only one school on the island. It's a combined school, and they can't even have sports teams because the weather's so bad. They can't often go compete, so they end up just forfeiting their games. So, you know, in addition to all of the deep, rich history, which I'll go more into, picked up some information, but it was just really cool talking to some of the local people and see how they're trying to keep this tradition alive. It's kind of a dying way of life, and a lot of the younger folks are moving out. We are back, and to tell you the truth, I'm still kind of just reflecting on the day, trying to take it all in. Didn't have nearly enough time to explore and see everything that I wanted to do on Tangier, but that's okay. Now I kind of know what to expect. It's not that hard to plan another trip out to the Eastern Shore. Hopefully next summer we'll bring some more family and friends and build on the experiences that we've had, because so far this whole week has been really awesome, but Tangier just stands out so much because it's something that I never really thought that I would actually get to be able to do. Yeah, I'm just still kind of soaking it all in, everything that I saw and learned today, and I'm not really going to try to cover it all. There's a lot of other people that have done it a lot better than me, documenting the significance of Tangier and really just kind of how rare it is. It's one of the most isolated communities in America, one of the most unique places left, and it is on track to possibly be the first climate change refugee. So it's kind of going to be an indication, I guess, of how we're going to handle these types of situations as other communities begin to face the same challenges as the people of Tangier. And what happens over the next 20, 30, 50 years is kind of going to help us figure out and decide how to handle other similar situations. It's been there since 1608. To be able to go there and see it, talk to a lot of the locals, it really worked out. The original ferry we were going to take actually ended up being full. I didn't really have a backup plan, but I was going to try to go over to Chincoteague. Instead, I ended up driving all the way up to Crisfield, Maryland, which it's really not that far away from here, farther than I was expecting. But we were able to grab another later ferry up there that had plenty of space. It worked out perfect. There were a couple of locals on that ferry, so we got to spend like an hour and 20 minutes just talking to them. That was better than, you know, walking around the island, paying for a tour or something like that. Of course, that's done by locals as well. But just kind of having like that day-to-day conversation and her talking about like what her husband does and their way of life and what it means to them. And she herself is not a native, but she's been there for, you know, years now and absolutely loves it, would never want to live anywhere else. So just having that type of interaction, that's the best part of going out and seeing places like this. overall, I'm just really thankful that it all worked out, even though it wasn't 100% according to plan. Now we know how to plan things out, what to do next time, and hopefully see it again. But in the meantime, trust me on this. Just Google, National Geographic has covered it. There's tons of YouTube videos from local news people, conservation groups, Chesapeake Bay groups. I mean, there's a lot of things out there about the uniqueness of Tangier Island. So please do yourself a favor. There's some really great photography, great interviews, all kinds of information out there. So if you're a history buff or you're someone who's really interested just in cultures, ways of life, accents, it's something that would definitely appeal to you. So, and if you ever get the chance to come out to the Eastern Shore and go up to Tangier, it's definitely worth it. There's only, from my knowledge, there's only 3 ferries unless you book a private charter, and most of the ferries only run May to October. Reedsville, Virginia, which is on the other side of Chesapeake Bay, Crisfield, Maryland, which is a little bit north of where Tangier is, and then Ononcock, Virginia, which goes like directly out to Tangier. It's directly east, and each ferry is roughly like $25 to $27, something like that, for a round trip. They depart at different times and come back at different times, but each one gives you a couple of hours on the island, which really by the time you get there, and if you want to go eat or things like that, it's not really long amount of time. So just plan ahead. Some of the ferries, especially in peak season, get booked up really quick. That was my mistake. It's the off season and the smaller, closer ferry that I wanted to go on. I actually tried to call for reservations, but the lady, I don't know, she couldn't hear me on the phone. I called like 2 or 3 times. So we just drove up there. I was planning on doing this for the whole day anyway. And then just ended up going up to Crisfield and grabbing that ferry. But it all worked out. Do your research. If you get a chance to come down here, it is 100% worth it.